Right, we're coming to you live from Johannesburg. A very good afternoon to you. If you've just tuned in, this is the Newsfeed PM edition. I'm Mposa Tole. Let's take you now to our leading story, taking you live to Dlamini in Soweto, where the search for missing Khayalethu Magadla is still continuing, a week after he disappeared down a manhole. Our reporter Malungelo Booi is monitoring the situation. Malungelo, afternoon to you once again. Let's talk about some of the latest developments as the search is ongoing.
That's right. As you rightfully indicated, today one of the main things that we saw authorities or officials again using those drones in order to be able to identify and see if there's any further manholes in this particular area, and they have discovered at least 4 of those new manholes. Remember, they were saying to us yesterday that this area has about 8 manholes, all of it. Now, they've found an additional 4, and they're busy exploring those 4 manholes that they've been able to see. And of course, we've been given the visuals of what's actually taking place inside, that line where they're actually searching for little Khayalethu Magadla, who you have rightfully indicated disappeared last Sunday, and every effort really to find him have actually not been successful. Yesterday we've seen, and today we've seen divers going inside those many manholes trying to find this little boy. And of course we've also been seeing members of Dlamini, this community that has rallied behind this young boy's family, providing them support, coming here to the scene, in fact, to pray. There's a shot that we're actually seeing. Some of the community members, in fact, are actually near the manhole where that young boy had actually fell into last week. And at around lunchtime, what we saw members of the community again coming here to pray and giving, support to also the emergency personnel that have spent the last week trying to find little Khayalethu Magadla. And of course, they have not been successful. But community members telling us essentially that they will not lose hope in this with authorities, and they're saying that they won't lose hope, and they know that ultimately, this little boy will be found, and he will be, his family will ultimately find closure. And this is what everyone in this particular community is praying for at this point in time. And they're saying that they will continue to come to this particular space to also give these emergency personnel who are busy with their search here, to provide them with support. And I think that's something that's very important. And we continue also to see these members of the community to also coming here to ask these emergency personnel if there's any progress. But one of the things that they've also been calling for, in fact, that they've indicated that they'd want to see emergency personnel and the police who are part of this search and rescue mission to expand their search to other areas out of Dlamini. And I think, with the days going forward without any breakthrough in this particular case, authorities or these emergency officials will have to essentially relook their strategy to see how, they move forward from here on, because all their efforts so far have actually been unsuccessful.
This has become a community initiative showing the sense of Ubuntu amongst the people of Dlamini in Soweto. Talk to us about how the family is feeling with the support that they're getting from community members, and some encouragement that something is indeed being done to find that young boy.
The family is devastated. In fact, earlier in the week when this incident happened, the members of that family would come here, including the father of the boy, would come here, to see the emergency personnel searching this particular area. And also what residents have also been doing is to also search along the Klip River just to see if there's anything that will essentially come out of, the search, helping authorities. I want to bring in Robert Mulawusimpo. He's here so that he can just bring us up to speed as to what happens now. I mean, all their efforts have not been successful. Robert, let's start here at these 4 extra manholes that you found. What have you found inside?
No, at this stage we didn't locate the young boy out of the 4 manholes which were discovered this morning. However, we're looking at deploying our technology from that last manhole, which of the 4, towards the shaft, which will be almost our last stretch. It's much more longer distance. We're hoping along the way, firstly, we will be able to remove any obstruction which might be along the line. And if we do discover any obstruction there, we can be able to deploy our technicians using our closed circuit breathing apparatus to that area where there's obstruction. So after that, before we call the search off, we will have to study the footage. And then if there is anything which requires us to send our technicians down, we will be able to do so. And then after that, as usual, we will be able to brief the family about the day that was. Of course, we will have to show them the footage to show them what is it that we have done for the day. And then from there, we'll have to continue with our search from the ventilation chamber, because we believe that from the last manhole towards the ventilation chamber, we might be able to locate the young boy. So that is exactly what is going to happen from now on.
One of the things that community members have been saying to me, Robert, is that perhaps you should expand your search. Listening to what you're saying, yes. I think you are doing just that now.
Yes, yeah. In terms of the searches, yes, that's what we're doing. Because we do got information that we must expand our search, of course, around the area where the split chamber. That is what is happening now. We've got colleagues who are checking along the split chamber where everything which goes along the pipeline. That is the end of the pipeline. We've got our colleagues from Joburg Water monitoring that area. From our side, the critical phase will be from the ventilation shaft towards the last 2 main holes, which is along a main road in Klipspruit West. That will be our last hope. By tomorrow, we should be able to know exactly, what is happening before we jump into move into the split chamber.
How many kilometers are we talking about here in terms of the radius? And
the distance differs from the one manhole to another. That can be about 100, 150 meters, 200, 300. So it differs about the distance. But it's a couple of kilometers from where we are now to exactly where the split chamber is, which is the main area where everything happens. So from our side, we're just doing it section by section or block by block, if you understand, from one manhole to the other, one manhole to the other, so that when we get to the split chamber, we are sure that the pipeline is clear. We rely on whatever we see at the split chamber.
What's the biggest challenge at the moment?
No, the biggest challenge now is the water flow, because remember, people around the area, they still have to go on with their daily to-day business. I will say that it's when we have to ask Joburg Water to shut some of the pipelines, because you will see already some of them are already overflowing around the area. If you are driving around, they're already flooding already because of our request to say, because we have to operate. You can only operate when the water level is at a certain level, so that we don't create risk. Remember, when we go in, we have to eliminate the risk. The risk inside the pipeline for us is water. The water velocity or the pressure of the water along the pipeline. So that is what becomes our challenge also, and also the methane gas which is along the pipeline, which is also a challenge for us. But we making sure that we make sure that all the safety procedures are there too, so that we don't create an emergency on top of the other one. So on that one, I think we're doing well from day one, or from last Monday. We've been doing well. We're making sure that we exercise all caution as and when we continue with our search. So we still stand by our commitment to say we'll do our best to make sure that we recover the young boy, and then we are able to assist the family to find closure.
I was going to ask, at what point are you going to call off the search altogether?
For now, I wouldn't want to say as when, but I think from our side, as soon as we have covered all the manholes, the pipeline, and then we have searched at the split chamber, and we find out that there is nothing, maybe, because that will be now, because the split chamber, from our side, there's nothing much. Yeah, that is the last part. So I think that will be decided as and when we get there. But for now, we still hope, we still have hope that anything can happen, because this is in our line of work. We believe that anything can happen. So we still have hope, because these kind of operations, they differ. Some, they can take much more longer than the others. So we still believe that we can still be able to assist the family to find closure. I mean, these men and women in the service has been here from Monday conducting this search. I mean, we're leaving here around midnight sometimes, but we're soldiering on, because we have made that commitment. Every day when we get to the family, of course, they are touched by this, devastated by this incident, but we also give them courage to say we will do our best to make sure that we recover the young boy.
All right, Robert Molawuti, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Robert Molawuti, he speaks for the Johannesburg Emergency Services.